Morning to day two. Oh my god. Yeah. I had the absolute worst night's sleep last night. It rained, I think, most of the night. It was still dry. I definitely did not do the best design in the tent. I tied the inside of the tent. Anyway, I'm on a slope, and I'm just lucky it didn't rain harder, because the water would have started pouring in here at some point. But you get that when you are a hardcore bushcraft survivalist like I am. Note the drooping of the sides of my tarp. Oh, I should have got out there and drank that water. Really got deep into the experience. Oh, far out. Man, I could not sleep. This bivy bag was so hot. The bivy bag was so hot. And I was paranoid about getting attacked by mosquitoes. So I was fighting this internal battle with do I just dose up with Mozzie spray and just get out of the bag? Or just cook at probably 3,000 degrees Kelvin. Well, I think we know what I ended up doing. I got out of the goddamn bag. I can see I have some Mozzie bites. But you know what? That's fine. I'll go get some Plantago. No problem. I'll just be walking around rubbing Plantago all over my arms all day. This thing came in handy. This is just a bug net for my head. That's cool. But man, that is the first time I slept outside of a tent, kind of in the open. I mean, I have a tarp on my head and it's raining, so I'm not under the stars. But first time I've slept in the open air for probably 25 years. And I highly recommend it. Because if you're trying to get hard, it's a lot easier to get hard when you're outside of a tent. It's broken out. All right, 8:25. So we need to meet up at the tent at 9 o'clock. I did bring some coffee, so I think the plan is I'm going to put some coffee on. I'm going to see if I can raise this tarp up and then actually wheel, well, it's dying down now, but actually wheel my bike under the tarp. I want to get most of my stuff packed up, but the thinking is maybe I can leave the tarp until the very last minute, and yeah, I can basically be packing up under the tarp while it's all nice and dry. Anyway, whatever. Morning of day two. So the plan today is, I think we go until 4. First half the day, I think, is meant to be more plant identification and review of the tracking. Jeez, I don't know. There's a schedule. I didn't even look at the schedule. Anyway, more plant identification. So we can do medicinal and edible plants for a good chunk of this. And, shelter building. We're going to look at, well, not that I need any improvements. Clearly, I'm the master of shelters, but shelter identification, or shelter. I'm going to identify what a shitty shelter looks like. Anyway, shelters and man, I don't know. There's a couple other things on the list, but it's a good course. Really, really good course. Highly recommend it at this stage. Let's see how we go for the second half, but it's going really well. Anyway, whatever. I gotta get some coffee on. What do you reckon that is? I'll tell you what I think it is. I think that was probably a leech or something. Anyway, well, it's not there now, but there's a lot of blood. Whatever. Yeah, I did find a leech yesterday. So if you don't like leeches, bushcraft's not for you. Everybody's always like, man, I feel like $1 million today. Yeah, dude, I feel like about, I don't know, about 1325. So.
And then the one that went around, you pinch the middle of your X. I'll do it again. And through, and line it up, and then it grabs really beautifully. Top of your thatch will all come to a point and make that top bit waterproof if you're building a small one.
Cudweed.
Tubers that we can get. You can eat the leaves, you just got to take the little spines off it there.
What colour is the flower?
The flower's purple.
Sarsaparilla.
Which is great to see. The first layer, you may have spent a little bit too much time on the first layer. It's a bit prettier than it needed to be. As you can see, once you get the second layer, it sort of covers it.
There's nothing but the breeze and the great unknown. Leave your worries and your suitcase. All you don't need, nothing but you.
2 straight hours of rain. Crazy. I've got 2 hours to go. So far, I'm dry. Jacket's okay. I couldn't close the vents on the pocket. I could do one side, but I couldn't do the other side. And then the snap kept, like the button kept coming undone. Whatever. Who cares? Just go get hard in the bush and then drive in the rain for 4 hours. Actually, it's sprinkling. It's not too bad now. It was torrential before. Anyway, whatever. Let's get out of here. With my coconut water. This place is tapped.
All right, I thought I'd do a very quick post-mortem on this trip. I don't want to say, there's not a ton of stuff I want to say about the actual trip itself, but I want to mention some of the resources that I've looked at and then just kind of tag on some thoughts about the journey, maybe for other people who are thinking of kind of getting into this, because obviously I'm at the very front end of it, right? I started with this one, a Weed Forager's Handbook. This one's really good. This one was very helpful, great pictures, and it shows you what the plant looks like before it flowers, when it fruits, all that sort of stuff. So that's really cool. I looked at this book, the Bush Tucker Guide. This one I feel like is more of a novelty. It's more about saying, you know, here's what some of the indigenous folks used, but this is not really a guide. I think this is purely for you just sitting in your living room having a read. If you take this book out there in the bush, I think you'd be pretty hard pressed to use it. The next one was this Wild Plants, Wild Food Plants of Australia by Tim Lowe. This one's also pretty good. So I'm supplementing this one with the Weed Forager's Handbook. This one I do really like. So that book is quite good. I definitely recommend checking this one out. And again, for me, it's about like, can I get a good sense based on the pictures in this book and the description of what plants I should go after and then how to prepare them to actually use them, right? So this is real stuff. And then I also picked up some books by Dave Canterbury. Canterbury? I didn't realize until after I looked at the books that Dave Canterbury is a YouTuber, and I guess that's where he started. He runs a course called Pathfinder School or something like that. Me being ex-Army, when I thought Pathfinder, I was like, oh, the guy's making sling loads or something. Anyway, but no, it's about bushcraft. So he's got a couple books in that series. First Aid, I haven't looked at this one. Trapping and Cooking, I glanced through this, but I found this book to be pretty low level. Like it's very introductory level, right? I didn't feel like there's some explanation, but not enough explanation to where you could actually look at that sort of step by step and do what he's doing. So, yeah. And then the other ones were Bushcraft 101. I thought this was pretty good. He goes into something about like the 4 C's, you know, containers, cutting, cover, combustion, things like that. And he starts talking, like there's a lot of introductory concepts in here, which are quite good, which obviously I hadn't heard before. The 4 W's, wood, water, wind, widow makers, those kinds of things. So this is pretty good. This is a good start. And I read it cover to cover, I think in like 2 days or something. And this wasn't a bad book. I wouldn't buy the set. I would probably just start with this. And then interestingly, so I got this as a set, as a four book box set. I got the advanced Bushcraft book. This one, if you read both of these together, you will see that this is probably, and again, no beef with Dave. I understand he's trying to put out books. I understand why. But I felt like this was at a minimum 30% regurgitated content from the first, like at a minimum. It could be as high as probably 70%
regurgitated content from the first one. So like if you explain like setting up whatever, if you explain the first 4 W's in the first one and we go into this book, why are you explaining it again? Well, the assumption is obviously you got some people jumping straight to this book that have gone past the first one. But what it means to the person that's buying the advanced one is you're getting like essentially like 2 extra chapters of content, and really you probably could have just tacked that on to the first book. Like, anyway, so I don't actually recommend this book. Yeah, there's some extra stuff in here, but anyway, I didn't find that it had a ton more information than the first book in terms of like, you know, it's the 80-20 rule, right? Like I get 80% of the value from 20% of the objects or 20% of the items, and I think this basically covers it. But then what was good is that there was mention of this book. This is Australian Bushcraft by Richard Graves. This book has been around for quite some time. I saw a ton of reviews on this, and I was actually coming back from a weekend out, and I went into like a little bookshop and they had this. This book is awesome. This book is really good. This book is really good. And the other thing I like about this book is there's a ton of detail on how to do this stuff. And there's no fluff. It was written in a time where, you know, you could tell this guy's not doing this to sell books. Okay, he's doing it to share the knowledge. And it's a pretty good book. So I highly recommend this. So I think if you're in a place like me and you're just starting out, this book is a really cool book to start with. Awesome stuff on shelters, what to bring, what to look for, you know, different tools you can use, things like, anyway, there's a ton of info. There's all kinds of stuff in here. Like, it's actually, I think it was originally a 10 book series, like 10 pamphlets or something like that, that was consolidated into this. But anyway, it's really cool. Highly recommend this book. Check out the books, guys. You know, if that helps, go for it. Check out Jake's course. Again, I didn't get anything for free from Jake. I paid full price. I showed up and I did the course just like all the other folks that you saw in that video, and I experienced it the same way that they did. That's it for me, guys. I hope that was, you know, interesting for you. I hope it kind of maybe gave you some ideas on stuff that you can incorporate into your rides or into your own kind of experiences. And yeah, we'll do more of this in the next week. I've got some cool content coming out. I've got some pretty cool drone footage. I just got my drone, my DJI Mavic Pro 3. So just learned how to fly that and pilot that thing for the first time. That's absolutely amazing. So that video will be up next week. And then more hunting videos. More videos coming out for this hunting series here pretty quick. And yeah, that's what we're up to. Anyways, if I see you guys on the trail, don't be afraid to wave me down and say hi. Otherwise, get hard, stay hard, and we'll see you guys in the next one. See ya.